That's right. First of all, dumping animals is illegal according to the Humane Society of Odessa. And the more that people dump, the greater the overcrowding problem becomes and could lead to the spread of potentially dangerous and contagious diseases. Good evening, Sammy. It's all about getting kids involved in art and giving back to the community, especially given that there isn't a whole lot of funding for these types of art projects. And I mean, it's also the opportunity for kids to show off their creativity. Just like last week, people have lived in this area of the county for nearly 3 decades and have never seen flooding quite like this. In fact, there are some areas around here where there's almost as much as 3 feet of standing water. Their question tonight, where is the water coming from? Before the district can really get into the costs, though, they will have to decide on a new name for the school, which could come tomorrow.
You know, Jonathan, there's something else on the table here. The issue of the lawsuit that was filed against the district. How is the district moving forward with that case? Tatum, MISD has requested that this lawsuit be dismissed due to no viable causes of action, and the judge presiding over this case has given both parties until November 9th to present their arguments for their actions in writing. Now, Tatum, that's really all we have on this issue at this time. You never expect it to happen to you until it does. That's what Rebecca Lopez, the daughter of Amalia Gonzalez, who died from COVID-19 on Thanksgiving, has experienced over the last couple of weeks. Good evening, Tatum. The short answer here is no. There's no guarantee that today's vote will block the license needed to prevent or to store high levels of nuclear waste here in Andrews. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to bring my costume all the way out here to Andrews, but you know who was prepared out here in Andrews? Fort Stockton, and boy, were they ready to knock off Andrews for that district title tonight. Despite coming in with a so-so record, they were ready for a fight, and that's exactly what we got. And so with that, why don't we go ahead and take a look at those first half highlights. It was a pretty uneventful drive, just a straight shot down I-20, a little long if you ask me, but let's go ahead and get to what we're all here for. That's some high school football playoff action, and boy, did this matchup tonight live up to the hype. 2 10-win teams in Wink and Wellington, and it was nasty, it was physical, and it was everything that you expect the playoffs to be. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at those first half highlights. Well, guys, I've been a part of some intense rivalry games in both high school and college, but this was something else entirely. But before we get into that, I got something to show you guys. As we know, it was homecoming again. I've been snubbed for homecoming king twice, but not tonight. 3rd time is the charm. I am now your homecoming king. And like I said, it only took 3 different high schools, 3 different weeks for me to become homecoming king. And with that, why don't we go ahead and take a look at those highlights between Permian and Midland Lee. The atmosphere out here at Ratliff Stadium was absolutely electric. Both Odessa High and Permian High came out raring to go, but the game quickly became a one-sided affair. Permian High jumped out to a huge lead early on and never looked back. And with that, why don't we go ahead and take a look at those first half highlights. Here with me now is Wink head coach Brian Gibson. And coach, this is obviously not the outcome that you were looking for, but you played a real good team and your boys absolutely fought tooth and nail. Just how proud are you of them tonight?
I just love them so much. Those dudes give us so much. We were shorthanded all year long. You know, our depth was thin all year, and dudes fought through so many pains and injuries. They gave us everything they had every day, day in and day out. And I'm blessed to coach these men because they're destined for greatness, and they learn to fight like that, like they did right there, and fight all year like that in life. They're going to be in good shape, and I know that when they leave Wink High School, they're going to have the tools it takes to be successful.
Good evening, Tatum. The big thing to know is that we're still a few months away before construction begins. City Council anticipating January or February as the most likely time, with upgrades to certain areas desperately needed. Upgrades to Odessa's water treatment facility. It was something that couldn't be put off any longer.
It's going to take 4 years to build the plant. And so it is an emergency. We do need to get it done now and get moving on it. It can't be, the can can't be kicked down the road any further or any longer. Otherwise, citizens of Odessa be boiling water.
Still, lots of work to be done going through rating agencies and receiving the funds in early October, leading to bids and finally construction starting in early 2022.
It'll probably be January or early February when they break ground. So if we'd had to wait, till an election in November or next May, we'd have been so far behind the curve that we were running some real risk of the water plant going down.
Several key areas will be focused on as the work begins, including structural damage, filters, electrical, and computer systems.
The electrical is a real problem. It's one of the biggest problems. And then we've had to just, over the years, they've piecemealed together some computer systems to be able to monitor it on under a new system. We'll have a whole new computer system to monitor the chemicals going in, how much flow is going in, how much flow is coming out.
But how does this impact residents of Odessa? Will water supply be cut off at any point during repairs? Thompson doesn't believe so.
No, I don't think so. We have two plants up there actually. So we work on one while one's down, and then we'll flip over and work on the other one when the new one comes up. So it's a two-step process.
Now, using the COs to fund the project initially meant that Odessa residents could possibly see a slight increase in their water and sewer bills. However, Thompson's saying that won't likely be the case, at least for the first year. Instead, those funds coming out of the water and sewer revenues. And then after that first year, they will go ahead and reassess and see where the balance stands with water and sewer revenue. And then maybe after that first year, slightly increase the water and sewer rates for Odessa residents. Reporting live in Odessa, Jonathan Polasek, NewsWest 9.
Good evening, Tatum. The prayer service lasted only about 30 minutes, but its impact was undeniable. And it wasn't just the people from this church that came together, but rather several different congregations had a hand in putting this together, as well as coming together in prayer. Although the events of last year cannot be reversed or erased, people are joining together to keep those events from defining them.
There is power when you find purpose for your pain. And coming together helps us to find our voice again as a community and say, we will not let this define us. We will let caring for each other define us.
Caring for each other, along with unity, is one of the main takeaways Pastor Weeks wants to come out of this.
We have strength and peace when we come together. When we come together in prayer, we're coming together to mourn, to pray for families directly affected, to honor our first responders and our medical team, and to be one across all different dividing lines, to be the one Odessa that we are and that we certainly were that day in response to the mass shooting.
Weeks says that the healing process takes time, and that's why it's important to have these kinds of events.
So it's important at anniversary times like this first year observance to take time to remember, to take time to grieve, to allow those emotions to come up, to ask God's help and healing, and to say thank you for the good things, the blessings, the people that helped us through.
And there will be opportunities for support and counseling for anyone who needs it.
We want people to know that we're stronger together. The Family Resiliency Center will be with us tonight, letting people know about their free services of support and counseling to anyone affected in any way by August 31st, 2019.
Stronger together and in this together.
We want people to realize we're not meant to just shoulder this burden by ourselves and be isolated. We're meant to come together and help each other, bear each other's burdens.
And even if those injured don't join tonight, they will still be honored.
I know there have been other opportunities, but we will honor all those who come and pray for everyone, whether they come or not.
Now, the end of the prayer service was marked by the sounds of bells. And while the events of last year will remain with us always, we will always be Permian Basin strong. Reporting live in Odessa, Jonathan Polasek, NewsWest 9.
Good evening, Tatum. That's right. Patterson wasn't supposed to be on this late flight from Dallas going to Florida. However, that change in flight may have saved this woman's life mid-flight. Prepare for liftoff. But what happened on Southwest Flight 5250?
None of us were prepared for anything like that.
Medical Center Hospital nurse Kristen Patterson and her family headed to Florida for vacation. She was 10 minutes into the flight when someone yelled a line you only ever hear in the movies.
I heard someone yell, "We need medical professionals. Is there a doctor on board? Is there a nurse? Anyone?" And so I jumped over the guy who was next to me because I was in the middle seat and ran to it.
Another passenger was having a seizure.
By the time I had gotten there, there were two girls holding the young woman. She was having a seizure. When I got to her, she was actively seizing. So we had turned her on her side, and they had her body. I had her head. We were able to get blankets. I carry blankets everywhere with me, and so I shoved all my blankets underneath her head to protect her.
5 nurses in total, strangers before this, all fell into line to save the woman's life.
We worked so well as a team, especially we didn't even know each other's names until we got in New Orleans. So worked really well. It could have gone south really quick, but it went so well. And I think, I really think it was a God thing, the way that we were positioned in the plane and how quickly and how well we worked together. It was just amazing.
A new Fab Five of sorts, forever bonded in a time of need.
It was a super proud mom moment to see her spring into action. Of course, I've seen her spring into action before, but I was super proud of her, but not just her, but the whole group of them.
After a flight like that, and a life saved, we'll cheers to that too.
Patterson said that paramedics took the passenger who had the seizure straight to a hospital in New Orleans once they touched down. No word on her condition tonight. Reporting live in Midland County, Jonathan Polasek, NewsWest 9.